So that's that. What did I want to say? I wanted to say hello. Thank you for coming here and joining our session. So since we're recording, we might start now. I thought I would create a really cool PowerPoint, at least page 1, but I don't see that we are sharing yet. It says, can you see my PowerPoint?
Not yet. Please.
Not yet.
Not yet, exactly. Yeah. So I did click share. I think it didn't. Okay, I see. That one. It got complicated today. It kind of like I had to click a few more things today. All right, I think you should be able to see the PowerPoint right now. Right? Is everyone seeing it?
Yeah, we see it. I see it now.
Yes. Okay. So just out of curiosity, are you watching this class on your phone or on your computer?
Watching.
I'm currently using my laptop.
Is anyone using the phone?
Yeah, I'm using my phone.
Yeah, so the thing with the phone is that it is a little bit slim in a sense that, it's small. So because it's a lecture, it's a tutorial and a lecture, and because we need to read, it's a little bit difficult to see everything.
Yeah, but
So
it still okay with me.
it's still okay with you, so it must be my age. It doesn't happen to everyone. There's a lot of horrible people who are 60, 70 and still can see beautifully. So I envy them. That's why I call them horrible. I wish it was me. So, okay. We're doing this discourse analysis course, and as I am teaching it, I am setting now and then a few traps. You know what's a trap? Contexts where you will find surprises. When you think you know it all, then there is something happening and it surprises you. So I hope we'll find a few surprises today, so that we become better in discourse analysis rather than just thinking that we can turn off our brain and the process of critical thinking will just follow whether we are thinking or not. So it's not that simple. The tools are help, but they don't solve all our problems. Okay, so I haven't been able yet to access your homework, so I'm working on this. I sent an email to your people in Vietnam to tell me how to actually open. Clearly, Teams is not that transparent as it might seem to you. It's not to me. So I can't access and read your PowerPoint, hence you're not getting feedback, which is really a pity. But it doesn't stop us from actually having a discussion about homework. So can anyone say something about the homework before? I might just go there to the slide. So the analysis here is about the Indian family. And I left it there for your homework, so you can actually use it as a guide to help you analyze the ads, the poster ads. So just in general, can anyone mention something, or just in general, any comment about the homework? Did you solve it within 10 minutes? Because I said, well, take 10 minutes and then just dump it. If you can't do it in 10 minutes, then I will be very happy with you to just dump it. Did you solve it within 10 minutes? Honestly, it's not that easy. As I said, the discourse analysis tools I give you, they are help, but they don't do the job for you. So, so yeah, if you didn't find it easy, then that's okay, because I also, each time I use my tools, I still have to think quite hard. So any generic comment about the homework? Anyone wants to say, share anything?
Honestly, yeah, the homework is a pretty difficult. Sometimes I don't know what to do, just try to fill in something. But for some criteria, I'm not sure. So it's mean I give it blank.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I wouldn't be surprised, actually. It seems like a simple poster ad with a car, right? Just a car. I mean, what's there to analyze? And yet, when we use these criteria of aesthetic experience, I mean, it's a poster. It's not even a text, right? So it's not a text. It's a poster. So the criteria developed by Professor Ramachandran and his colleague Hirstein, I uploaded today in your files section. I uploaded the original paper. I'm not asking you to read that paper. I just uploaded it so that, just in case you want to read it, maybe after the course finishes, you may wish to have a look. There are also YouTube recordings about, what is it called? The neurological, what is it called? A theory of aesthetic experience, something like that. So you have Professor Ramachandran actually teaching his method of uh, analysis using statues or paintings. So you can actually, out of curiosity, have a look at that. So clearly the poster is art of some sort, right? It's a picture. So you'd think that the analysis would be straightforward. And yet, one of our students said, not really. Anyone else wants to comment? Did anyone think that they did it right? It's not that I'm going to ask you how you did that. I just want to ask whether anyone felt they actually did it in under 10 minutes and it was done well. Okay, so can anyone type, no, I didn't? Just to commit ourselves to the side. I mean, if we're not actually answering my question, then at least answer it. No, it was difficult. No, I don't know. No. Just standing behind your views rather than hiding in silence. Yeah, just say it. I don't know. I didn't do it well. I couldn't do it.
I try to do it.
You tried to do it, yeah? Yeah. I like actually when I do it on purpose when I encourage you to actually say things like I didn't do it or I couldn't do it and type it in chat. It's extremely important to get out of to step out of the mob. The mob is the crowd and everybody hides there. It's not a very critical position to take in life. especially as a leader, because your teachers or your linguists, your leaders, once you have your master title, you're actually in the upper layer of the intellectual class. And if you do something or haven't done something, you actually should say it. You should have a clear conscience and say, it was too hard, and just say it, because that's the start of critical thinking. One of the things that we found with my PhD students in Indonesia, that one of the problems that stopped scholars from doing research was that they were afraid to ask questions. They were afraid that their question could be wrong. So yesterday, I'm not sure whether you know that I run broadcasts every 2 weeks, so on matters relating to teaching and learning English as a second language. So we had a broadcast yesterday. You can find it on my Facebook if you go there. You don't have to befriend me. You just can follow me if you're interested. I just can't have a million friends. But if you are interested in that broadcast, you can go there. And it's very interesting that someone at the level of a professor can say, these particular things that are being done all over the world, they just make no sense. So a leader with a professorial title says it, but that's because it's not because they are professors. They became professors because they always were saying what they were thinking, right? They would always, when they were at your level of study or career, they would always say, I just don't agree. I just don't get it. I just find it too hard. Or this particular thing really surprised me, right? So uttering these things, it's a promise for career, a good career. Whereas sitting silent and hiding, it's not necessarily the position of the leader, especially in contexts like here, which are non-threatening. I don't know your names. We're not beating anyone here. There are no prizes for getting it right or wrong at this very moment. It probably never will be. So I really like when people stand up behind their view and say, no, I didn't do it. No, I couldn't do it. 10 minutes, you're joking. Right. So let us have a look a little bit, so not to spend too much time on that. So I made that little speech to you because part of the mentor, and you, if you're a teacher, or some of you are, part of your mentoring is actually teach attitude towards profession. Now you may have a different lesson to share. My lesson to share is don't be ashamed of your questions, because they will then you will never do proper research. You will never do anything innovative, because you will always look at other people and follow other people. You will always be inside of the crowd. And that's not necessarily the best position to be if you want to contribute. So that's my lesson. You may have a different lesson to share, but part of teaching is actually to communicate attitudes towards profession, I think, because once you're in it, then you have something to share. So I think that the first thing about these two ads is what they are communicating. I think it's very simple, right? I think we've done that analysis before, so you should not have any problems in stating what these ads were communicating. Any suggestions? So one ad has a girl and the other ad doesn't have a girl. But yeah, so what are these ads communicating? I mean, you know that clearly.
Personally, I think that those are used to introduce the news and the news and shiny and luxury cars of different brands.
So in a nutshell, so what are they communicating? What's the message? What are they communicating? Is it a matrimonial ad?
No, it's not.
Or what is it?
It is a poster about a new kind of car.
Poster selling or advertising a new car. All right. So what do we see on poster one? So like, let's say poster one, pardon me. What groupings do you see on poster one? So every painting, every good painting organizes things, like in the house, right? You don't have a television and a couch and your clothes all in one corner, right? Oh, in one place. So you don't have a couch, on it you have a television, and on television you have a wardrobe, and on the wardrobe, like you organize things, right? You group things. So how are remember how in our, and that's what you refer back to, in our painting, we had groups, right? So there were groups. We had a mansion and we had a family, like two major groups. And later on, we looked into more detail, like what did these groups consist of? And we were analyzing. So in this picture, what groups do we have on these posters?
I think they are the foreground and the background.
Absolutely, both have a foreground and a background, and that these are very useful concepts to have for analyzing, exactly. So what's on the foreground of the first one? So 1 and 2 have foreground and background, so I don't have to actually differentiate. So what's on the foreground of the first one?
On the foreground of the first pictures, there is a woman.
Right, and on the second one?
A moving car.
All right, so I trust that all our students who are in this class can see it, right? And if you can see it, symbol of innovation and power. So that's, that would be a moral probably, right? So that would be what is really, let me have a look where we have it, where we have room here. Yeah. Well, let's have a look now. So that was correct. I didn't see it. Well, we don't know it yet, whether they're symbols of innovation and power. At this very moment, we need to actually, we need to work a little bit with the analysis to actually get there. But yes, at the end of the day, that's what will happen. So what's contrasted in picture one?
So I think that the contrast in the picture one is that the girl in the car moved to the opposite direction.
But it's a little bit okay. Anyone wants to comment on it? So we're having a very Western class. I don't know how it's in Vietnam. I so really hope that in Vietnam, it's not like in Cambodia or in other Southeast Asia countries where everybody is silent and waits for God to talk, because it's really difficult for a Westerner. And a part of learning English is actually learn the culture. You may not accept it, but at least you learn it, and it's very hard for me to teach and preach. I preach a lot here. I just need a discussion a little bit because I need to know what's in your head so we can work with your understandings, not just with my understandings. So you see, that's an understanding I wouldn't have come up with It's very interesting. So anyone wants to comment on it? So that we, like yesterday, we did the painting analysis and we did it in such a way that it was better than I have done in the past. So it's really important that we talk. So if, yes, but what's the girl doing?
The girl is turning head to the car.
So synchronizing with the car, right? Synchronizing the movement. So even though she might be walking in a different direction, which is a good thing to say, but she's turning and therefore changing the direction. That's a good point. Walking that way, but then turning her head and therefore synchronizing. Synchronizing, I hope you understand the word. Synchronizing with the car. So in that sense, she's now positioning herself in the same direction where the car is going. So what are the right? So what are the contrasts in Ed 1? Are there any contrasts? We have foreground and background in Ed 1, right? We have a girl and we have a car. Are there any contrasts there? Is everyone afraid of thinking? Hi, Annie. What do you mean by another contrast? I just want you to tell me. Grouping is not contrast. Grouping means that at the front we see a dog and at the back we see a beach, for example, right? So, or here at the front we see a girl, at the back we see a car, but that's grouping. We have two elements, two objects, but are they in contrast to one another? That's the question. We're looking now into detail. So are they in contrast to one another? I'll just check the sun. Yeah, light. That's a good point. So the car is going into the sun, right? That's a good point. Never saw that one. So that's a good one. I'll just write it down. So light and dark. Where are I? So so the car is going into the light. Well, that's interesting. What does light symbolize?
I think it's the new thing, a new future.
Yeah, new day. That's right. Future. New day. A new day. Exactly. Very good. Now, I never saw that one. That's a good one. This is what the discussion does. You never know. You may think you think of something stupid, and it might be stupid. So we will just move on. But it could be something that, some detail that will open up a new avenue. That's why saying stupid things is really important, because it actually makes us think, and maybe what looked stupid, it's not stupid. Like even the direction of the girl walking versus the car, I would have never thought about it. But that allowed us to see that even though the girl is walking in another direction, she's turning her head. So she's synchronizing. So so contrast. So if so, the girl, I would put here, the girl is synchronizing with the car, and in that sense, they are one. Right? They create one. So they're not in contrast. The car, let me suggest, the car is not in contrast with the girl. They kind of like a one. She's interested in the future, right? She's interested in the future, and therefore the car catches her attention. So because the girl, yeah. What problem is the ad solving? So the first ad, we're talking about the girl, okay? So we will just, at this very moment, we're talking about the girl, the first ad. What problem is that car solving? How to make attractive a car. And by attractive, so how did the ad communicate that the car is attractive? Come on, friends, it's very easy. It's as visible as I am. So how did the car communicate that, how did the ad communicate that the car is attractive?
I think that the car is attractive because it's make the girl look at it.
Yes, an attractive girl. An attractive girl is turning her head towards it. So in English, you say, it turns heads, right? That's an expression. It turns heads, right? It calls for attention. So if an attractive girl is looking, attractive young girl, right? So young means looking to the future, right? Young, well-dressed. So the girl will not pay attention to some stereotype is that the young girl will not look, a young pretty girl is not going to look into a car which is bumpy and horrible, not with attention, not with what is she, well, let's look at her face, with interest, right? She's looking with interest, not with uh repulsion, like, oh my god, what a bumpy car, what a terrible thing, you know, how can anyone drive it? She's not doing, she doesn't have that facial expression. She's looking with interest, right? So how to make a car attractive, right? So the car carries status in the form of, because it attracts attention, it symbolizes future, right? Symbolizes future. Symbolizes future and attention. And in that sense, because it symbolizes future, it carries status, right? It carries status. Now, before we had our discussion, I would have said that the ad one did not have contrast. I would have said the girl and the car, even though they belong to two different objects, there are two different objects. So in grouping, we would say one is in the foreground, one in the background. I would have said that they are one. There is no contrast, they are synchronizing. But having had our discussion today, I can see more. I can see that there's light there's a light and there's darkness, right? The car is going into the light. I didn't say it. So going into the light means going into the future, and future symbolizes new technology, modernity, status. That's where you want to be. You don't want to be in Middle Ages and riding a donkey. You want to be with the new technology, and girls like it. Interesting girls like going into the future, not sitting in Middle Ages. So our discussion has helped me to actually see more in this picture than I did actually within the 10 minutes or less I gave to it. So symmetry and balance. Both the car is attractive, she is attractive. In a sense, two main objects are here interacting with one another, the car and the girl. So in some sense, and there's a light and dark. Both car and the girl are interested in the light. So in some sense, I would say that they are symmetrical. Are there any metaphors here? That's an interesting one. I didn't think there were, but now having had a discussion with you, I'll just solve it because I think that, okay, so are there any metaphors here? You know what's a metaphor? Metaphor is something like a tall girl, skinny tall girl, touching a palm tree. So her skinny figure, skinny and tall figure is, so basic, it mirrors the palm tree, because the palm tree is also skinny and tall. So it's almost like that the shape of the palm tree is a metaphor for the shape of the girl in that kind of comparison. So here, do we have some metaphors?
I'm not sure, but I think that the metaphors here is that when you drive this car, girls will turn head for you.
Oh, that's a message. I think that's a message, I think. That's a message of the ad, but I think anyone else wants to make a suggestion? Metaphor means this is like this. This is what metaphor is. She's as beautiful as the sunshine each morning. She's her cheeks as pink as the color of a peach. You know, so that's the metaphor. This is like this. This is like this. Are there metaphors here? Okay, my friends, you've said it already, but since you can't see it, and I don't want to spend 3 years on this, so this car. Okay, let me have a look. I think the metaphor is woman can control modern technology and even take a lead in the, I don't see it. I think the metaphor, I think you're not actually too far off, but I don't see, okay, so basically, I think your tone, your message, your what you're saying basically is the boys to be cool, they will progress forward because they want to compete for the best girls, right? So they do amazing things, develop technology for themselves and also to compete for best girls. But I think that the metaphor in this picture is, and I will say it because, as I said, I want to speed up things. It's that how can I word it now? Car is the car and the light, right? So that's what you said. The car. So the car, the car and the light. So heck, I'm just trying to word it now. because it's a new thought. I didn't say it before. So I didn't think there were metaphors here, or not many, but I think that one of you found it. And I think modernity is not just cool. It is the this car is not just cool, right? It means future. Okay, so this car is like future, right? Because of the sun, because of the sun rising, because of the sun being tomorrow or the new day, right? So the car is not just cool, we didn't or just new, it means future. And that's why the girl is turning head. Oh my God, where is the future? Right? So the girl is looking at it, wondering, what's the future? So I can see that this was not an easy analysis, and you can see that even I changed I actually learned from you, which I really appreciate each time we do that. We've done the @2 as well in the past. So we've spoken about it, why it doesn't have a girl in it. Could be two reasons. The first one is because they didn't want to have a girl. They didn't see the reason. But typically cars do have a girl on their ads. But we did say why this ad might not have a girl. Do you remember?
Mm. Last session, you said that the background is a picture of Dubai, so in their culture, it is not appropriate to put the picture of the woman in the ad.
Okay, so so if we were to say that this poster also wants to show that this car, which I think here is a BMW, I don't know, that this car also symbolizes future, right? How is the future represented in this poster? So this car is not just cool, it means future. How in this poster is this status and attractiveness and future symbolized? What elements are used here?
I think that they use the text or the icon presents to reflect those factors.
Well, I didn't think about this yet. Yes, but you can say the icon of presence and not be convincing. So the text, it's like my mother. I tell my mother not to drink Coca-Cola because it destroys her stomach. But my mother sees an advertisement on television, and she says, she's 92, by the way. She says, "Oh look, it's advertised. Must be good." Right? So my mother has lost that brain power that helps her see. But what's advertised is not necessarily good. So just because they said it's the icon of presence, it might not actually be synchronizing with the rest of the picture. So yes, the text is good. It does says, but of presence is not future. So presence is like on the cutting edge. So the presence here means cutting edge, right? It's a symbol of presence, which means it's on the cutting edge. So that's a good thing. But what other elements here symbolize future or cutting edge?
I think that the car is also going into the light.
Clearly. So that's that. So we have the text, we have the light, and one more. One more that I see. You might see more. So in the second ad, In the second ad is the light as well. And what else? The text and
The modern city at the background.
absolutely the most modern city on the bloody planet. Right? That's it. I mean, it's created out of a desert. A lot of money is put in there. I understand that the city is in trouble when it comes to actually now. It's further development, but currently everybody knows that Dubai is the most modern city on the planet. So yes, they didn't need the girl. They had Dubai. Dubai did the thing, did the job. So the car, so the light we have here, we have text in the second one, and Dubai, right? That's it. All right, so if we were to look at the second ad, we have two. So at the foreground, we have a car, and at the background, we have the city. And the city is also sort of like, you know, I don't know if the city is moving towards the future, but definitely the car. So our contrasts, we have light and dark. I'm not sure if the car and the city are in contrast with one another. You see, just because they are two different objects and one is at the foreground and at the background, I can't see them contrasted. I think they together symbolize future. So and Dubai is also covered by light, or at least a significant part of it on this picture. So for me, I can see that they actually are contrasted. It's not like the Dubai is old and the car is new. There's no such differentiation. The same with the girl and the car. It's not like the girl is old, but the car is new, right? So that's why I was thinking myself first that there was no contrast in advertisement one, but there is, which is the light and the dark. I think that was fantastic. Whoever said it, I envy you. Good spotting, honestly. I've been looking at this picture for a few times. You know, I looked at this picture a few times and I didn't see it. Clearly, I'm not artistic, and I always say I'm not. But it was a good spotting. So that's the contrast, and I think it's the same contrast in the second ad, whereas the objects, foreground and background, are one. So there is no contrast between the girl and the car. Although I give it to you, to one of the girls who said, well, maybe the contrast is that the girl is moving in different direction than the car, but she does turn, so she does synchronize, but in the beginning she wasn't synchronizing, so they were in contrast, right? So I give it to you. Yes, they could be. Contrast one is going towards the darkness, the car towards the light, but the girl turns. So on the picture they synchronize, but maybe in time, in fact, they were in contrast. So I give it to you. But in the second advertisement, the only contrast I can see is the light and the dark. I can't see that the car and the city are in contrast. I think they are both synchronized. There's nothing. The car is new, the city is new. Just can't see any contrast there. Although these are the two different objects on this thing. Right. So the car is not just cool. It means future, or it means modernity, because Dubai is new and future, right? Something like that. So we've done it well. We've done it well. So I wanted to teach you now how to summarize this ad. But I didn't prepare that because I prepared something else. But we will try it therefore ourselves. I'll just remove that. All right. my friends. So let's look at the, just summarize one ad. No, I will not. Can you keep this picture in mind? I just need space here. So I will remove it. Okay, we're talking about ad 1. I need space, so I had to remove it. So number 1. What's the ad about? It's a poster advertising. Oh no. Oh no. Now, we are learning how to summarize or synthesize things, right? So this is no longer just talking about, this is now trying to summarize. And when you want to summarize things, you begin actually, you need to say what this thing is about. So you're not actually creating a story. We will look at stories now next. But when you want to summarize things, you begin with focus. You orient the reader. But this time, we need to differentiate between retelling and synthesizing. So if we were to say, oh, this is an ad about advertising a car, and there is a girl, and there is a car, and there is sun, and the car is going to that's retelling. That's not summarizing. Summarizing is really going into the problem, and the message, basically, the message of the ad really was advertising a car as a symbol of, what did one of you say? Status? What was that? That was good. I need to now go back. Innovation and power of, what did we write here? I will write that. Innovation and power. Why not? Right? Because innovation and future means power. Power in the sense like it helps us, innovation helps us to move forward. Car as a symbol of innovation and power. It's not just moving forward, but also attracting girls, right? So it has power. So what is the ad about? So now when we want to synthesize, we go to so on the basis of what the problem the car was trying to solve, or the poster was trying to solve, we now have a moral. Buy this car and you will, it's best thing to buy this car so you can actually communicate innovation and power. With this car, you communicate innovation and power, right? So what is this about? It is about the kind of cars that, it is the kind, not the kind of car, it is about a car, a type of car. It is about what kind of, a model of a car, or Audi, we can say Audi, that symbolizes. So what is the ad about? What is this text about? What is this poster about? So, sorry, my friends, I just lost the screen. I clicked on something. It is an ad about the model of a car that symbolizes innovation and power. So you can see, because we are synthesizing, we want to, because we want to synthesize, not just tell what's on the picture. That's different, right? On the picture there is here we were looking at what's on the picture, right? And we saw this, we saw this, we saw this. But then once we analyze the foreground and background and the contrasts, and we analyze the metaphors as well, then we were better at actually identifying what problem is the ad actually trying to solve. And the problem that we decided the ad was trying to solve is to communicate a message of being worthy attention. And the car is worthy attention and therefore buying because it symbolizes innovation. Innovation is future, right? So I'm not going to write that. Innovation and power. Power to attract. Power because it's innovation, new technology, and also power because it turns heads, right? It turns heads of girls, but not only, obviously. But girl is typical here. So what problem? That is very interesting because I haven't thought about it. I'm just going to go into here. The problem here was to solve, blessed, the family is blessed, right? So what problem was, I don't know, maybe it's an ad advertising, it's an ad communicates about the model of the car that symbolizes. What problem was this? Do I have that written down here? What problem is being addressed? Right, so to shortcut on the basis of what we are saying, what problem was being addressed? The symbols of innovation and power, right? How to represent the symbols. Or how to, so how was the X represented? And so that was a right, but the problem was, see, I'm myself trying to think. So what the problem, so it is an ad about the model of a car. So if we, about a model of a car, what problem, how to represent the symbols of innovation and power. How did the author communicate the problem? What did he say about the problem? What was in that first ad? How did the ad communicate the problem? By engaging characters and features of the landscape, right? By engaging especially chosen, so maybe not especially, characters and features of the landscape that the audience can easily relate to, something like that. We will correct it, okay? So how was one represented and the other? The car was so how was it done, right? So now we just basically the car was shown as moving toward the future, the light, right? So that's the comparison, the future and the light. So that's the metaphor. Thus symbolizing, thus projecting its new technology and also turning heads and thus attracting attention of a young attractive girl, right? So it's carries status. Maybe I can word in here status. The car was shown as moving towards the future, the light, that's projecting its new technology as a symbol of innovation, as part of innovation and status. I don't want to use power. That's attracting attention of a young attractive girl. See how we're doing? So as you can see, we're still following the structure that I taught you in class 1, focus disturbance, but we're not using it now to tell what's on the picture, right? But summarize the message of the ad. That's very different. So synthesis, so we've done, so in lesson 1 of our meeting, we learned just the canonical structure of text. Then we found, and then we analyzed also how the canonical structure first results in a draft, and then the author turns the draft into, for example, a matrimonial advertisement by carefully thinking of the words, not just the structure, which is of the words that we use. So one thought that the matrimonial ad author thinks about is, for example, to distance themselves from the ad. So in a matrimonial ad, the advertisement by the British girl was was in the third person, right? And the girl was thinking hard about adjectives to use to describe themselves in a positive light without actually going overboard and saying, I'm Miss Universe, I am all you need. So was thinking, looking at her draft and thinking what emotions she wants to evoke in a person, and then identifying the appropriate adjective, sensual, young, whatever that was there, artistic, I don't know, intelligent, right? So that's what we were learning. So that was how to create an ad. But now, if you want to summarize critically someone's text or someone's poster, I think that these categories of aesthetic experience are very helpful for us to make us see what's happening in the text or in a poster or in a painting. Light and dark. If you were analyzing a text, you could probably analyze words and come up with also similar conclusions. But I think what these categories help us do, and we will use them for a written text, not just a painting. We'll do it today. But what these categories, and I'm using these categories first with the poster or painting, because I want you to see how they help us order what's happening in the text. Or here's the grouping, here's this contrasted with that, right? So the categories help us. And once they helped us to sort of, it's like a wardrobe. These categories are like a wardrobe, and they are shelves or drawers where we put things in. And once we've done that, organizing, here are the socks, here are our shirts, here are our pants, right? So once we've done that, we could actually see that the problem, we could see the problem that the ad was trying to solve in a much clearer way. So you had to make a car attractive. So how to make the car, so more or less, how to make the car draw attention or attract attention, symbolize future, symbolize status. That was when the person sat down to make this ad. So yeah, how to make not just the car attractive, the car carry status, which is attention, symbolizing future, symbolizing power, right? All of that. That's what they wanted. They wanted the car to symbolize all these things. So that was the problem that the person wanted to solve. So now when we are synthesizing our analysis, we've analyzed. Now when we're synthesizing, we still follow the structure of each text because that's how you talk about tech. That's how you talk. It is an ad, right? You can't start, the car was shown as moving towards, you can't start with this sentence, right? So you have to start from the beginning, which is, this is an ad about blah. So now, but we don't say it's an ad about a car because it isn't. It's a car, it's an ad that tries to solve this problem, right? We can say that symbolizes all that seeks, right? That symbolizes, that seeks to it is symbolized, right? It is an ad about the model of a car. It is an ad that about a car. It is an ad about. It is an ad that wants to present a car as a symbol of innovation and power. So now, when I rewrote the message this way, I have distanced myself from the message of the car. Because first I wrote this ad is about a car that symbolizes innovation and power. And that was good enough. But if I want to distance yourself, I'm saying that's what I think they want to communicate. That's why I wrote the poster wants to do it, right? So I'm not saying that I think that's what the poster is doing. This is what we wrote first. That was good enough. When I'm saying now the ad wants to present a car. So I'm not saying that it's actually doing this. I'm saying the ad wants to do it. Little change. You don't have to marry that particular structure. But as a scholar, sometimes I like distancing myself. So it doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter. It's an ad that presents a car, right? Presents a car, a specific model of a car. As a symbol of this and that. So it does so by resolving or by identifying the elements that represent innovation and power. Among these, the poster chose to so now I'm trying to make a continuity in the text. So among these, the poster chose to engage characters and features of the landscape, human characters and features of the landscape that the audience can easily relate to, or better, that the audience can easily relate to. That was very generic. You can edit it. Among these, the poster chose to engage. So notice that this dialogue is about the problem, right? It's not talking about anything. It's about saying more. Dialogue, the stage of dialogue is basically tell me more about the problem. Well, if the problem was how to represent innovation and power, tell me more. Dialogue says, well, tell me more about that problem. Well, then basically, I know that it is about innovation and power, right? Because the poster engaged human characters and also features of a landscape that the audience can easily interpret as was desired by the authors of the poster. Now, this is a wonderful skill if you have it. When you actually want to summarize someone else's article or text, right? You really go into the moral first. What is it that the picture, a poster, or the text really? What's the message of it? What is it that it says? It's best to do. And what this ad is doing is saying it's best to buy our car. If you want to project innovation and power, it's best to buy our car. And that's what this ad is about, right? So you write this right at the start. This is an ad that projects this. It does so by identifying, because that was the problem. So the problem was addressed by looking for characters and features. So what were these features? The car was shown moving forward, was moving forward toward the future. The light, that's projecting its technology as a symbol of innovation and status. And they don't want twice that, and attracting attention and attracting attention of a young, attractive girl. What was the outcome? Now we want to word it. So, okay, my friends, what I will do is I will now duplicate this slide and remove now. Maybe I won't duplicate. What I will do, I'll just have a new text. Sorry if it actually makes you sort of lose your eyesight because of this, but I need to make you read things. So if I do it like that, you will see better, right? Okay, so the development, how tell us more. So what happened? What did the ad actually do? So the car was shown as moving towards the future, that's projecting its new technology as a symbol of innovation and status and attracting attention of a young girl. What was the outcome? The young girl turned her head, acknowledging. That's acknowledging. That the car is cool and attractive. What lesson was communicated, or what message was communicated, right? The moral of the story. Now we just need to make sure that we don't have any strange things here. The poster, the message of the poster was, if you want to communicate not power, because it's negative, it has negative connotation. If you want to communicate coolness and communicate future, how about with novelty? Not novelty, not future, If you want to communicate, I don't want to use status power. If you want to communicate, if you want to, if you want to, you can scream, guys. You can interrupt. You can come up with a nice verb here. So the message of the poster is, if you want to communicate, I don't want to make it banal, so it's not about status, power. If you want to communicate, I don't want to use the modernity. Surely someone can think of a better word. If you want to communicate, if you are part of the new day, our car is the car for you. Right? If you are part of the new day, that sunrise, whoever identified that light honestly made our analysis today, right? You can see how even a trained eye like mine, or semi-trained, didn't see the light, but that light really helped us analyze this particular ad. Not only that, it helped us actually synthesize, right? So let's have a look at that synthesis we have now. Thanks to using these categories, right, we got the synthesis. It is an ad that represents a car as a symbol of innovation, or it is an ad that seeks to, I think it's better, present a car, a specific brand of a car. Oh, wonderful, Ania. As a symbol of innovation and power. It does so by identifying the elements, identifying elements that represent innovation and power. Among these, the poster chose to engage human characters and features of the landscape that the audience can easily interpret as was desired by the authors of the poster. The car was shown as moving towards the future, the light, thus projecting its new technology as a symbol of innovation and status and attracting attention of a young, attractive girl. The young girl turned her head, thus acknowledging that the car is cool and attractive. The message of the poster was, if you are part of the new day, our car is the car for you. Now, I've never done anything so beautiful, but it's so nice. Tell me you loved it. You never thought, but we did that, right? Right. So did you think that we were doing a job like this? So if you ever were to actually summarize a poster of this kind, you can see that a summary like this is a way better than, I don't know, I've just lost our ad. I don't know how I lost our ad. I did it what? Than saying, or describe the picture, right? Or there is a car and there is a girl and the girl is looking at the car and that's it. Right? So this skill is extremely important because when I read doctoral studies from Asia, I can't say from, but I definitely, sometimes I was sent doctoral drafts by doctoral students from Asia and to comment. And basically, Asian students, maybe they are trained like this, and that's actually sad. When they summarize or synthesize, in fact, when they synthesize the literature, they say, and Ania Lian wrote about advertisement, and Andrew Lian wrote about technology, and Mr. Smith wrote about something else, and you know, like this. It's just like it's childish. A 6-year-old speaks like this, right? So we have to move past the 6-year-old's level of cognition and think of discourse analysis tools that may help us actually see what's happening in the text. So when we then want to summarize or synthesize the text, we don't retell it. Oh, there is a car in the city. It's really good, really nice picture, right? So rather than talk like a 6-year-old, we need to have tools that help us actually produce a structure like I just did. Now, is it easy what we just did? It took us over an hour or right to get to this point, but it's a skill of synthesis. And when you write your assignment for me, which is I don't know, 500 words about you know, I can't remember what it is, but some sort of academic text. And if you want to refer to someone else's text or something, when you want to begin your summary or synthesis, you don't say it's an ad. You don't say it's a poster with a picture. You really go to the moral of the story. And why? Because notice that. And this is the most important part of today's class. Well, I don't know, but your focus has to be mirrored by the end of your text. You cannot start your synthesis by saying it's a poster with the car and finish with they wanted you to buy the car. I mean, or you know, like nothing is really reflected in a summary like this. Whereas here we said it's a symbol of innovation and power. And notice this, if you want to be part of the new, right? So that innovation is reflected in the new day. And the power is basically saying the new day is power. If you're part of the future, you have power, you have status. If you want to sit in Middle Ages, well, you do that and see how far you will get, right? So you can see that we looked at our analysis, we identified the problem, and we used the problem that the ad wanted to solve to inform our focus. What the ad is really about, what problem is it trying to solve, right? And we inserted it right at the beginning. Well, it's an ad, but 6. So now if you want it to be, when you now write your text, you remove all these bits because they were just to help you, right? They are just tools, right? When you make a dress, you use a sewing machine. But when you wear your dress, you don't wear your sewing machine at the same time, right? You just wear a dress. So now we are removing the sewing machine, and now we have a text. And here we are. I will upload it on our course website, so in Teams, so you can actually have this text in PowerPoint. You can copy and paste and use it as your model for future. So I might finish now, even though it's a little bit less, under an hour and a half. We will meet in 15 minutes. So can you tell me exactly what's the time in your place? We'll have 15 minutes break, and I'll take you to the next part of our class. First of all, maybe we can spend 3 seconds. What did you think? Did you like the move? Did you like the idea of looking at the poster and then using those categories that we have filled now, filled them in, using these categories to help us synthesize by using the canonical text structure? Did you like it? Did you see that we ended up with a nice text? What are your feelings? Right. I think that in due course, as we go through this, You'll be really good at it. And as I said, this will make your life easier, but not necessarily easy, right? Having a shop next door makes your life easier, but not necessarily easy. You still have to go there. You still have to identify ingredients you want to buy and all of that. You still have to earn money. So yeah, that's how I feel. But I devised this method myself using other people's ideas, and it's not about solving all our problems. It's about helping us. Absolutely. I don't think we will ever master, but we will. Yeah, and we will work. We still have a few meetings together, so we will say how well we are working with it. But yeah. All right, my friends. So we meet in 15 minutes. So what time is it with you? 5 to 25 past 3. So meet 20 to 4. Okay, 20 to 4. Let's have a break a little bit. And we start the next session in 15 minutes.
Yes.